Welcome back for another helping of oysters, clams, and cleaning, otherwise known as Oysters, Clams, and Common, presented by Bolin Media. I am Ross Bolin, here with Barrett Dudley to discuss and review Silo, Episode 8 on Apple TV+. How you doing, Barrett?
Who built the silo?
Who built the silo? We're doing it.
We're doing it. It was not Salvador Quinn, as it turns out.
No,
sirree, not him.
But he did save the silo.
Not that old bastard. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Remember that twist there?
A twist
at the end.
Twist. Yes. Oh man, I'm doing good.
You got a name tag on today.
I do. Yeah. At work, there's some new folks. So I'm just gonna leave it on for the pod. That way, random folks that catch a clip on TikTok, they know that I'm Barrett and you're Ross.
Yeah.
Which it can be very confusing, as you may, some of the members of the Clam fam, they came out to my Instagram profile where I had my most liked post ever.
They showed up
and commented on how handsome you are. So
how tall I am.
How tall you are and how handsome you are. There was one of each. There was one about your height and one about how handsome you are.
It is weird that there are people who listen to the show who have no idea what we look like, who have listened for years and years. And like we're on YouTube and the social medias, but still, every once in a while, you and I don't post on Instagram all that often.
Right.
Not huge posts.
Correct, yeah.
And pretty much every time one of us puts something up where the other is included, we get comments from the Clam fam usually about my height.
Yeah.
Which is
nice. What's the skincare routine these days?
Mine?
Not to get too retail therapy coded with it.
Oh man.
You got a retinol going?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't know the name of the face wash I use, the product. It's just I just do the things my wife tells me to do.
How many things is that? But morning and night.
It's 3.
A three-step routine.
Yeah, if you're counting the cleansing of the face.
Yeah, that's one.
And then in the morning, it's a lotion.
Right, a moisturizer.
And then a sunscreen.
Okay, yeah.
Got to protect the skin from the UV rays.
That's right.
We're not in the silo.
That's correct.
There's sun out here. And then at night, it's cleanse, retinol, lotion. And if you're young and you're listening and you're like, what the hell? Yeah, just wait, champ.
Yeah.
Because those lines are coming for you.
Start that retinol early. There's a people call it like the ugly phase because it kind of like it'll dry your skin out. It brings stuff to the front.
Yeah, it gets all the bad stuff out.
So just get on the retinol. If you're like 27, 28,
just do it, man.
Just do it.
I'm probably like 4 years deep, dude.
Yeah, I'm about 6 months deep. No, maybe not even. Maybe 4 months on a retinol.
But it works.
Yeah.
It works. You got to be careful with the lotion, Barrett. You don't want to lotion too much.
Okay.
I went through a phase where I was putting far too much lotion, and I was breaking out regularly.
Yes.
And I had only myself to blame.
You were clogging the pores.
I was indeed.
With too much lotion.
That's true.
Yeah.
All right, let's get back to
segue. They don't have to deal with those UV rays down in the down deeps, especially in the down deeps.
They don't. And before we get to the down deep, I was watching the Globes last night.
Yes, many Hollywood stars who are mostly probably using retinols among other various cosmetic
and
procedures.
Frankly,
boom, brilliant segue.
There you go. Now that we're older, we're not spring chickens anymore. We're nearing what people would call middle age,
right?
If we're not there already.
Oh, sure, hon.
And now when I see the room filled with the Hollywood A-listers, I'm incredibly impressed with how put together everyone is.
Yeah.
And how good everybody looks and how much everyone is spending on their own skincare routines.
Yeah.
And the like.
Yeah.
It was a pretty good show last night. I got to say again, I love the Globes. It's my favorite one. It's the most fun.
Yeah.
The comedian who hosted, what's her name?
Nikki Glaser.
Crushes. Her joke about Timothée Chalamet being something that sounds like what Adam Sandler would say in a movie. Timothée Chalamet was unbelievably funny to me. But the amount of commercials during these award shows, particularly the Golden Globes, is absolutely criminal. It's insane.
You like kind of like tweeted a non sequitur where you're just like 3.5 hours. My God,
Barrett's gonna lose it. Yeah.
And I thought you were actually just talking about the Globes broadcast because these award shows, they do tend to be quite long.
If you tune in for the red carpet, it's a 4.5, 5 hour affair.
Yeah. But yeah, the Globes are good. Globes give you things like Jeremy Strong wearing a full green wool Loro Piana suit along with matching bucket hat, who you can just constantly see bobbing around in the background of every wide shot, of every like presenter. You just see his little dumb little bucket hat just popping up.
I got to share a tweet about that.
Yeah.
At Mike Bivas on Twitter said, stylist, what do you want to do for the Golden Globes? Jeremy Strong responds, I'm thinking Hunter S. Thompson in the Beastie Boys. And the stylist says, got it. And Jeremy Strong continues, Paddington's cousin who sells coke. Stylist says, okay. And Jeremy Strong continues, Stanley Tucci playing Gilligan. And the stylist says, right. And then it's just got the photo of him. And yeah.
It's, yeah.
But anyway, it always gives you a little bit. The Globes give you somewhat of an idea of like who's going to have real traction for the Emmys and the Oscars because it combines the two. You got movies and TV. It's another reason I love it so much is because it's all in one room, which makes way more sense for 2025 than it used to. Right? Mm-hmm. Back in the day, it made sense for the TV and the movies to be separate. Now I really like them being mixed together.
Yeah.
Shogun crushed.
Yep.
To no one's surprise, not to our surprise, both of us made it our number one show of 2024 on our lists.
Loved Big Yob's acceptance speech.
Missed it.
Yeah.
Missed it. Got to go back and watch it.
I mean, he is just a jovial guy that has a loose grasp on the English language,
right?
And comes with that kind of classic Japanese enthusiasm. And he was just like, this is awesome. I flew in from Japan. I got to go back tomorrow, right back to filming. So this is an awesome present, but he did it with all this, this Japanese verve.
Did he do the thing?
And a thick accent.
Did he do the Yabushige? Oh!
No, but he may as well have. You know what I mean? It had that vibe.
I did hear that they've got 6 more weeks in the Shogun Season 2 writers' room.
Okay, all right.
So they're very deep into the process. 6 more weeks to write. That's so much pressure. Like when they said that, I was like, good God, there's a timer on it?
Yeah.
Like you either come up with the good ideas in the next 6 weeks or that's it.
Or you just Matt Reeves that hoe and you just go to set fully into production without having finished.
And just keep punting. Just punt it down the line.
Yeah.
Who else crushed? Oh, man. True Detective Season 4, Jodie Foster won again.
Yep.
People were extremely upset that she beat Kristen Milioti. I was one of those people. It was just me. I don't know if other people were upset.
Okay, so see I wasn't paying close enough attention to know who because Colin Farrell notably won for the Penguin.
Yeah, great speech.
And he thanked Kristen Milioti
and Craft Services.
And that made when I saw that, I wondered if Kristen would also be rewarded. Okay, so she lost to
Jodie Foster.
Yeah. But now see, here's where the scheduling gets a little wonky because Jodie Foster won for True Detective Season 4, which she also won the Emmy for way back in September?
Several months ago.
I believe.
Yeah.
Whereas The Penguin will be nominated for next year's Emmys. See, so the Golden Globes happen. It's got a different calendar than the Emmys does. So it's weird because you get the mix.
Right.
You get like it. Honestly, it kind of makes more sense because it's basically like I think it's more of a calendar year. So it's basically like the 2024 shows.
Yeah.
Whereas the Emmys is like a June to May type thing.
Right.
So you get both 2024. You get shows from 2 years, but it's more of like a traditional like TV calendar.
Yeah.
Nobody does that anymore with all the streamers. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's never really made sense to me.
But yeah, so that's a bummer that Jodie Foster took that one down. You know?
Yeah, it felt like one of those lifetime achievement type deals.
Right.
Like they're just like,
Jodie Foster's nominated. We gotta give her.
We all love you.
Yeah.
Famously weird categories at the Golden Globes as well, where there's like comedies and musicals and things that aren't comedies at all, but are labeled comedies mixed in.
Which is especially weird in the movie category, right?
Very strange.
Like The Substance is in comedy or musical.
Yeah.
I have not seen the film, but pretty sure it's not comedy.
It doesn't look funny to me. None of the clips I've seen on Twitter were funny. They were all horrifying.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's one of those weird ones where like horror basically gets put into the comedy musical
because it doesn't make sense in drama. It's not fair for it to compete against the dramas. That's what the category feels like.
Drama,
it's like what's fair for these things to compete against? Yeah. Anyway, if you watch the Globes, this is relevant information for you. Barrett and I did our best TV shows of 2024 last week in a full ad-based public episode, enjoyable for all of you if you just scroll down in our feed here. And last week on patreon.com/oystersclamscockles, we did our favorite movies of 2024 that we've seen, of course. We also listed all the ones we haven't seen yet, like The Substance, that we would like to see. And that about gets us caught up. Of course, Severance Season 2 begins Friday, January 17th.
Ooh, yes. Maybe you know this about me, maybe you don't. I don't like to rewatch stuff that much.
Right.
Like beyond...
You're not like, I'm the opposite end of the spectrum. I love rewatching stuff.
Yeah.
You don't really do that.
I don't do that a ton, especially when it comes to TV, where I feel a kind of constant FOMO and need to be current and catch up on things.
And there's so much.
Much. It's just a never-ending fire hose of content, right? But, because I am a professional, I know I owe it to the podcast to do my Severance rewatch.
And to yourself.
And I started it, and I've only watched one, but I'm really excited to keep going.
Oh, it's so fun.
So just if you're like me, if you're like, I don't really, it's 9 episodes or an hour long, especially after this little run that we've been on right now, you're gonna watch that first episode of Severance, and it is going to be a rush to the head to remember what good television looks, sounds, and feels like.
Yeah. It's a head and shoulders above a lot of what we watched in 2024.
It's so good. It's so well done. The visuals are spectacular. They spent so much money on this. The location is awesome. The acting is top notch. I'm very, very excited to continue this rewatch. I'll probably I think I'll get to watch the second episode tonight, but should have no problem fitting in nine episodes by the 17th. But yeah, get yourself excited for some Severance with us.
I'm guessing it will be available on the 16th because Apple TV Plus always drops their shit a day early for whatever reason. I actually really love that. I'm still not clear on why they do it, but I love it because you can, I've been watching Silo on Thursdays.
Maybe it's because they by Friday, they mean in the furthest hour ahead on the global scale.
Possibly.
Australia gets it at midnight.
So they
Friday
just give
morning,
it to everybody,
and everybody just gets it at that same time.
That might be it. That might be it. I would also note I did a full Severance season 1 rewatch toward the end of 2024.
Yeah, you've already done yours. Yeah.
And it was well worth it because once you get to episode 3, 4, 5, and you remember oh my god, I completely forgot about this character and this storyline and how complicated this was. You really do need it. If for whatever reason you're not going to do it, go watch a YouTube recap. You do need some type of refresher. It has been 3 full years, man.
And here's why, just one more thing, why I was it's fun to, this is a puzzle boxy show. I think we can all agree that there is a core mystery here. And so it's fun to get back into the first episode, which you haven't seen in 3.5 years, basically, and watch more closely for the things that they are doing in data refinement.
Right.
Trying to keep your eye out for little clues and hints to what exactly it is that they're doing there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
get to know Mark S. all over again.
Yeah.
So next week, Barrett and I will cover the penultimate episode of Silo Season 2, and then the following week, we will switch over to Severance. We have not decided how we're going to cover Silo Season 2 finale coverage. I'm assuming that will be on patreon.com/oystersclamscockles if I had to guess, but that's where we're at. We're doing episode 8 today. We're doing episode 9 of Silo Season 2 next week. Then we're flipping over to Severance Season 2 because that takes priority, and that's going to ride us straight into the White Lotus Season 3. It's going to be a fun first couple of months here of 2025. All right, let's jump over to Silo. And let's get the really negative stuff out of the way up top. Juliet's Season 2 storyline is among the worst in any season of TV I've ever seen.
This is really the first time that we're touching on Silo for the season.
Yeah.
On our ad-based podcast.
Yes.
So for those of you that are not listening with us and kind of following along on Patreon, we've called this is the Damon and Harrenhal situation, but way worse.
Yeah. Last week on Patreon, we shredded episode 7, which is called The Dive, pretty thoroughly. The one where Juliet and Solo invent scuba diving, and he telegraphed that she would have the bends. And on Patreon, by the way, if you're looking to hear all of Barrett and I's Silo Season 2 discussion thus far, we put together an episode combining all of the little tidbits we've dished out over the course of our coverage of Dune Prophecy. It's available on patreon.com/oystersclamscockles, all in one episode. So it's just everything we've said about Silo Season 2 so far available in one episode on Patreon. Anyway, you and I discussed whether or not, like, well, I guess she didn't get the bends, because doesn't the bends happen, like, as you're coming up? Like,
Right.
apparently it can take, like, 20 to 30 minutes to hit, though.
Okay.
And, of course, it hits in episode 8, which really pissed me off, because if you do watch the little, like, previously on Silo recap, they just straight up give you Solo saying the stuff about the bends again to really make sure your dumbass knows that's what she's dealing with when you see her getting sick.
Yeah.
And that was just so massively disappointing. But I mean, we have to watch her go up the stairs, realize she has the bends, go back down the stairs, get back in the water, go down in the water to recover from the bends, climb the stairs again, get shot by an arrow, go back down the stairs again to recover, and then go back up the stairs again to meet these strangers that are somehow in this fucking silo, which apparently you had caught on to, that there were going to be other people here.
Yeah.
I had not.
Yeah.
Who knows what the fuck they're doing?
Fantastic use of time here, all around. Just
What
really
in the hell?
Quality use of the time that the show is given to put things on screen.
Yeah.
Look. I don't know if they are just filling time because they've clearly like stretched out this first book into 2 seasons, which I think we've heard from some of our listeners is, they're dragging their feet a little bit or expanding on some things that are maybe like smaller deals in the book. But like, just don't treat us like idiots, man. And this was a thing where her getting the bends and then going down like 20 feet in the water, where I'm pretty sure you have to be at the pressure you are, like, when you get the bends. I don't think you just, like, you can't fix the bends by just, like, laying down in your bathtub. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
But she just, like, goes down in the water a little bit and hangs out for a minute, and then it's like, okay, all better now.
She, like, moves her arm, does some wiggling.
Like,
she's like, ooh.
Just cut this storyline. Like, her getting the bends does absolutely nothing. Just have her come up, and then she gets shot with the arrow, and then she like runs around a little bit and then finds these people.
Look,
like the whole thing was just so dumb and pointless, and it continues to like you're hurting yourself more than you are developing any story, because all of these things require such suspension of disbelief and such like a reaction of incredulity from the audience. Like, what is happening? What is going on? This is not how any of this works. That it's just like, it's kind of maddening, and at the same time, like nothing's going on. So we would just keep going back to this silo with no furthering of the plot. Like, just like take a week off from Juliet. It's fine,
dude. Look, we
don't need to see her every episode.
We can talk through what has happened in that silo in 2 minutes. This whole season, we're 8 episodes deep. She shows up. She has to break in. She has to use her MacGyver engineer skills to find her way around and like build a bridge and whatnot.
Yep.
She finds the vault. There's a dude in it. It's Steve Zahn. He's a guy named Solo.
He's not who he says he is.
She has to convince him to come out. He eventually does. She's like, I need help. I need a suit because I got to get back, because he helps her understand that like everyone at this silo died because they all thought they could go outside.
Yep.
She's like, oh shit, light bulb. That's going to happen at silo number, 18 that she lived in? 18. Silo 18. I got to get back. You got to help me with a suit. He's like, shit, I guess I could help you with a suit. Wait a minute. Changed my mind. You can't leave until you drain this water so that I don't die. You got to turn the pump on. She doesn't want to do it. She gets sick at some other point. She has a cut or something.
Yeah, she's just infection. She gets an infection.
She keeps throwing herself up against steel doors, thinking that that's a good idea. So they invent scuba diving. She goes down. She turns on the pump. She comes back up. Solo's gone. There's a blood trail. There's a hatchet. Yeah. She figures, oh shit, he got attacked. She goes to find them. Oh no, I have the bends. She goes back down. She comes back up. She goes back down. She comes back up. She goes back down. She comes back up. And that's the end of episode 8.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a really brutal. You brought up Harrenhal. This is making Damon at Harrenhal look like Shakespeare. Like, it is significantly worse. It's not even fair to compare the two anymore, other than the fact that, like, clearly here's the decision that was made. With House of the Dragon Season 2, they were like, we can't not have Damon in the season.
Yeah. Matt Smith has to be on
arguably
screen.
the best character, or one of them, if not the best. let's figure out a situation with Harrenhal where we can kind of drag it out. And yes, it'll be a little obvious that we're stalling, but at the same time, there's good character development and some fun plot lines in there. This one, and I agree with the Daemon sentiment. I don't think you can remove Daemon from season 2 and have people like you and me not being very upset about that. This one, I think it might have been a mistake to have Juliet be in this season at all. Like, we're at that point now where I'm like, just get back to Silo 18. I care about what's happening there. I'm interested in the storyline. This shit over here is destroying the season.
I just feel I'm happy having this dual storyline. It's good to be checking in with Juliet, but since that is all it is these check-ins, they could happen once every other episode. Like, she could have been in 4 out of the 8.
You can have a couple without her?
Yeah, right.
You'd be okay.
Exactly.
We're not going to leave.
So I don't know, because the stuff that's happening in the original Silo is far more compelling at this point.
Yeah. It's been a struggle, man. I love Rebecca Ferguson. I think she's fantastic. I think she had to have been incredibly bummed when they gave her the script for this season.
Yeah, you'd think so.
She's like, well, at least I get to like show off my physical acting, which she's done a great job
of.
But
now it's too much.
Now it's over the top. This one, episode 8, was the first time I was like, okay, I hate this. Like, this is absurd.
Yeah,
You're making me watch her climb the stairs just so you can make me have to watch her go back down?
Yeah.
Immediately, man? It's just not good writing. And it happens, but like, it really, when you have it up against the comparison of the storylines in Silo 18, it's much more obviously bad. And that's making it really tough.
Okay, let's pause on the plot bashing and talk about the plot itself a little bit. Do you have any guesses on what's happening with Silo?
Solo?
With Solo.
Oh, man, not really. And this is another reason I have an issue with the whole Juliet storyline this season. Like, as that character has been developed, they got to that one point where they're in the classroom and he's like, oh, this girl was like totally in my class. And as an audience member, you're sort of putting it together even faster than Juliet does, that like, holy shit, okay, so he was like a 12-year-old when this happened and he has been arrested, developmented into the ground, and he's just a 12-year-old in a fully grown man's body, basically. Like, he did not develop any more psychologically or emotionally. And so you're like, that's kind of an interesting plot line. Cool, can't wait to find out what the deal was with Solo in his silo.
Yeah.
But now they had that other twist where it's like, oh no, just kidding, he stole someone else's identity?
Yeah. So Laura had the thought that maybe he's not from this silo. Did he come in and like steal the vault? Is that why there are other people that are like fighting to get in the vault? And even though I still think that he is from this silo, but it's an interesting question because what about the other people?
Yeah, what's their deal?
Are people coming from other silos? Are they finding this silo?
Because remember the two dead guys outside his door that Juliet kept bringing up too?
That were newer bodies, yes.
Right, fresher corpses.
Bodies. Yeah.
Never answered any of that.
No. So that's at least one kind of good question and thing that is still interesting about this is like these new people that are in the silo. I think it's pretty obvious that they're going to end up being like good guys, quote unquote.
Right.
You know, something bad is happening with Solo. One thing that we mentioned on the coverage last week is that at the very least, at least we know how Solo is functioning inside that vault now, thanks to Cousin Kyle getting inside the vault in Silo 18.
Right.
We know that it has basically everything. Mayor Bernard or head of IT Bernard like says like, I think you'll like the food. Seems like there's clearly some piece of this AI computer technology making the food. You've got every single book ever made except for the relics in there, so you can learn all about circuses and the bends and astronauts and who's a what's it's.
Yeah.
So like there's been a couple of nice parallels there to kind of inform what Solo might have going on back there
and how he's surviving.
Yep. But
so you think it's like robots making food? Like he's got like a robot chef?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, something automated for sure. But yeah, it looks like next episode is going to be the Solo story. So
thank God.
We need it. We need it.
Yeah, badly.
We need a little bit of payoff here for the for this other Silo storyline.
And why would give us a number so we can call it what it is? I'm sick of not knowing. We're just like the other Silo. I want to know. Yeah. What the hell? So when Juliet goes up and there's like a knight in shining armor with a crossbow that shoots her, like what is that?
I don't know.
What's that fucking person wearing?
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, so you think the people she encounters are from another Silo that
Potentially,
got into this one
yes.
potentially?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, yeah. Honestly, if you condensed it and you made it like one episode of Juliet catch-up time, like her storyline's not as awful. But when you stretch it out over the 8 episodes we've seen
it's the
so far,
continued check-ins that aren't doing anything.
and the repeat diving missions.
Combine that with repeat diving missions, especially ones that don't make any sense, as she plummets 800 feet in approximately 14 seconds.
Another thing I hated about her going down to cure herself of the bends.
Yeah.
When she comes up, she once again goes up very quickly. It's like you just solved the bends.
Well,
I know she's good now or whatever.
She's
but
20
like,
feet down.
But like,
to solve
God,
the bends,
like,
you know?
I don't know. Just that whole thing sucked, man.
Yeah.
It sucked. All right, before we bounce over to the other Silo, the start of a new year is the perfect time to get organized, set goals, and prioritize what matters most. For me, a top priority is my financial wellness, which feels more important than ever. Thanks to Rocket Money, my goals feel achievable. They show me all of my subscriptions right in one place and help me easily cancel ones that I forgot I've been paying for. Rocket Money also pulls together all of my spending across all of my different accounts, so I can clearly track my spending habits and see where I can cut back. And wouldn't you know it, today's episode is brought to you by Rocket Money. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. See all of your subscriptions in one place and know exactly where your money is going. So if you're one of these people that's like me and you have 7, 8 different friggin' streamers you've signed up for at this point, you can use Rocket Money to see if maybe there's one you didn't watch a single thing on in 2024. You could probably go ahead and cancel that. You don't need it anymore. And for the ones you don't want anymore, Rocket Money can help you cancel them. Rocket Money will even try to negotiate lower bills for you. They automatically scan your bills to find opportunities to save. Then you can ask them to negotiate for you. They'll deal with customer service so you don't have to. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all of the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/dragon today. That's rocketmoney.com/dragon. rocketmoney.com/dragon. All right, Silo 18 storyline.
Yes.
Let's talk about it.
Okay.
So what's our situation? We got Mayor Holland, Bernard Holland, is essentially in charge.
Oh, yeah.
He has nominated Robert Sims, a.k.a. Common, as Judge Sims. He's the new judge.
Yeah.
Because they murdered the old judge.
It's a classic promotion-demotion.
Yeah. You're being promoted, but only so I can keep my thumb on you.
Yeah, because you have less power as judge than you do as the head of judicial.
Judicial, yes, yeah. New head of judicial is some other guy who actually starts to get his shit together a little bit this episode after seeming like a total slapdick.
His name, I only know this from something that I looked up, is Admonson.
Admonson, yeah. You got okay, so they killed Judge Meadows.
Bernard did.
Because she wanted to go outside.
Yes. They couldn't have that.
Couldn't have that.
No.
Couldn't have that. So he fakes that he's making her a new suit.
Too many questions.
Yeah.
You know? Can't just let you go outside like that.
And this is yeah, I guess, but like the more we find out about Mayor Holland, he knows a lot.
He does.
We kept being like, how does Judge Meadows know all this different shit?
Yeah.
Well, it seems like a lot of it was like stuff he knows as well.
Totally.
Also, he was letting her keep relics and shit.
Don't forget that she was IT's shadow.
Right.
She was the IT shadow.
Right. Yeah. Okay, so Sims is the new judge. What happened with him in episode 8?
In the most recent episode?
Yeah.
He's fighting for power back, you know? So he's doling out threats to Bernard. He's trying to find out what this Logan Kyle guy is up to on behalf of Bernard.
The dude from the mines?
The dude from the mines. He doesn't like him because he wanted that job. He wanted the IT shadow job. And instead of getting promoted, he got the promotion demotion. And
Classic.
And so he's working with his wife to try to like get information on what Logan Kyle is doing by, again, applying threats and pressure to new head of judicial Admonson.
Right. And his wife, Common's wife situation is strange.
Very strange. She's like kind of both sidesing it. She's like, she's done a couple favors for the mechanicals.
The rebels.
You know, just to
which
have
nobody
that,
seems to mind all that
just
much.
to have that card to pull out at some point if they have to flip.
Which is what she explains to him. She's like, honey, what if they win?
Yeah.
And he's like, what? All right. Fair point. It's like, okay, that was way too easy for her to get away with.
Right.
But yeah, so he's aware, everyone's aware that she helped these people escape.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
But for whatever
Bernard
reason,
is, now Sims, her husband is as well.
She's just allowed to continue her job as a member of judicial?
No, she's in IT now. She was a raider, though. She's a former raider.
Former raider.
Yeah.
Former complicated woman, that one. Yeah.
Just like Randy Moss, a former raider.
Still don't know what her deal is or where that's going to go. They've slow played the shit out of her character.
How you feeling on Common this season? You're a big Common hater.
Yeah, man, I can't stand his performance. It's just the same in everything he's in, and he's not good at like what we call facial acting. His face always looks the way his face looks. Happy, sad, angry, mad, frustrated.
You know what the problem with Common is, right?
He's Common.
Yeah, he's too rhythmic. Everything he says sounds like he's about to like
start spitting bars.
Yes.
Yeah, that's part of it.
It's too.
He's too cool.
He's too smooth with it. He's too cool. Yes.
Yeah.
So it like limits his range because he always just sounds like, you know.
He does a lot of
like
that
a Talib Kweli beat is about to drop.
He does a lot of like where he's not even fully rapping all the way in his songs. He does some talking. Straight up. So it just a lot of this is like when he delivers some lines, if he has like 3 consecutive lines, I'm like, that was a bar.
But now he's threatening Logan Kyle, going so far as to tell him he knows where his mom is on like she's a nurse on 85 or whatever.
But what does he want?
She'd hate to have you as a patient. He's being a baddie, you know?
But doesn't Logan Kyle tell him like, there's this message. They want me to figure it out.
And he shows him the book. He shows him Salvador Quinn's Pact book.
Right.
And Common is basically just like, you better watch your back.
That was the
better watch your back.
That was why I hated it. Because like he threatens him. The guy's like, oh shit, okay, fine. Look, here's what I'm working with. And Common's like, fair enough. Wouldn't want you to end up in the hospital where your mom works. And he's like, all right, see you later. And that's it. Yeah, don't know if I love that or not. But to answer your question, I'm still out on Common.
Okay.
It's funny and fun to make fun of, though, but like I still can't get on board with this character. I hope he dies this season so I don't have to continue doing this in season 3.
But yes, Bernard was not willing to let Judge Meadows say she wanted to go outside. I think because of all the questions that would have, that would be another wrench in the wheel. They're trying to quell a rebellion.
Right.
And having like who the people think is the most important person in the silo, the judge,
now going outside,
say I want to go outside would cause even more chaos. So he can't have that. He kills her, uses her death, pins it on Mechanical, tries to rally the rest of the silo around that, but the rebels are smarter this time. Continued on in episode 8. Yeah, this dude knows a lot, but he doesn't know everything. But now I think he kind of wants to know everything because he seems to need more information to hold down this rebellion.
Mayor Holland?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, his character, played by Tim Robbins, is one of the most interesting on the show now.
Yeah.
Because even when he first is introduced, and you can tell he's a pretty sinister guy, he's moved more and more and more into the gray area.
Totally.
Where, like, one, his reason for deceiving everyone is valid. Whether or not it's the correct strategy, we have debated. Like, do you need to lie to everyone to keep them safe, or could you just tell them the truth and find a way to keep them safe in the truth rather than having this whole, bullshit scenario that you guys have been rolling with for hundreds of years?
Right. And so we sort of have that question answered here with the Salvador Quinn reveal, right? Because they finally tell us who Salvador Quinn was. He's the guy that takes a lot of blame for losing all of the history, but in fact he purposely did that.
To protect everyone.
To protect the silo. So 140 years ago, But prior to that, Mayor Holland tells us that there were basically a rebellion every 20 years, like clockwork, because people knew all the stuff about the outside. They had all their books. They had all their relics.
Too much temptation.
They knew the history, and a rebellion would arise every 20 years. He gets rid of all that. He poisons the water so that everybody slowly but surely forgets everything. No relics, no books, no nothing.
Feels like a bit of a shitty loophole, the whole amnesia water thing.
Dude, the entire everything that happens in the show is like a MacGuffin, basically. It's like we need something to explain away this. Here you go. Like they just like
amnesia water.
Yeah, amnesia water. It's fine. It's just that's what they're doing here.
Yeah. That one just kind of rubbed me the wrong. I'm like, okay, what the fuck?
I have that thought like 2 times during every episode of this show.
Okay, that's fair.
Like a kind of like I throw my hands up in the air, give it an eye roll, and I'm like, okay, fine.
And just buy back in.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's actually a hero.
So he's sort of a hero. He is simultaneously the person that like established peace for 140 years, running, no rebellions, but also he's the one that got rid of everything. He
put everybody in the dark semi-permanently.
Yes.
Yeah. Which people don't like that either, turns out. What else? So Sheriff Billings is now in the Down Deep.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of joined like the rebellion.
Sort of, yeah.
But also not all the way.
Yeah.
And because of the shit he said on the radio, they've turned off like all the comms, all the radio shit's shut down.
Yep.
Except for Walk, who plugged in her camera in her office or her domicile.
Yeah.
Which Mayor Holland took as an opportunity to negotiate with her.
Yes. Yeah.
And he's like, hey, I'm going to kill your wife. Turns out that's her wife or ex-wife.
Ex-wife.
If you don't tell me exactly what the rebels are doing.
Right. She's an informant now.
Act as an informant. Betray your people.
Speaking of performances we don't like, this is Dame Harriet Walter playing Martha Walker. She's a dame.
You got to do a lot to get that title.
For her services, for her contributions to British theater, British drama. Unbelievable performance in Succession as the mom of
Kendall and Rome.
Roman, Kendall, and Shiv. This performance is awful. This is a terrible performance.
And this episode is when it becomes more clear-cut than ever.
She can't do an American accent, first and foremost.
No, it's very bad. It's a very bad accent.
And they're asking her to carry a lot, and like she's too focused on maintaining the voice. And I do not like this.
It is not working.
I do not like this performance.
It is not working. And this episode, like I said, it really hit me like, oh. I think she was pulling it off when it was just like, this is the lady that raised Juliet.
When she's kind of
a sweet old lady.
Tertiary side character.
Yeah. But now that they're like, you need to go full heel turn informant to save your ex-wife, she did not pull it off.
No, she did not.
There's several line deliveries in this episode where I was like, I don't believe
they're
you.
tough. Yeah.
It's been kind of a bummer to see.
And on that plot point, more mechanics that again I'm not super thrilled about. Remind me of her. It's Knox and
the dude.
Knox is the dude. What is her name? Is kind of like he's flirting with her, and she's the other.
They've been making out now.
He's the other head rebel. She's the other head rebel.
They're kissing.
Yeah, Knox and
his makeout partner. I don't know her name. Here, I'll try to Google.
Yeah.
Shirley.
Cheryl. That's it. Shirley.
Oh yeah, and they call Walker Walk. Everybody's got to have a fucking nickname.
Yeah, that's right. She tells Walker, she knows Walker is going to, quote unquote, fix the pump and says, sounds like a trap. Meanwhile, she knows that Walker's going to go walk into this trap, and at the exact same time, she's like, mission full speed ahead.
Yeah.
If you think she's walking into a trap, I don't know, maybe pause the mission for like a day.
See what happens. That was part of the episode that felt really wonky when she's walking down the stairs and Cheryl is like, where are you going? And she's like, gotta go down to fix a thingamajig that they got us something and yeah, it's gonna be fine. And she's like, are you sure? It's gonna be dangerous. Seems like you have to cross the barricade. Like, smells like an obvious trap. She's like, nah. Cheryl's like, all right, good luck. Like, it's like, what? You're letting this old fucking lady who's like essentially like the spiritual leader of your rebellion.
Yeah. who has been up in arms in the Down Deeps about this need, this pull to help her ex-wife.
To free her.
Yes.
And it's not suspicious in the least.
She's desperate. It's the only thing she wants. She's saying
she keeps bringing it up.
Every other plan that they have is bad because it doesn't save McClane, her ex-wife.
Yeah. Keeps bringing it up.
But
there's nothing suspicious about her wanting to go across the barrier.
Then she gets called to fix a pump across the barrier. You note that it smells like a trap, and you continue with your mission anyway. It's just like it's not superbly done. It's missing things. These are just obvious. Like these things would be obvious to any rebellion that had 4 brain cells.
So she rats them out.
Yeah.
The mission that they go on gets stopped.
Gets busted.
What was the mission even?
They're going to supply. They're stealing stuff from supply. I can't even remember what.
They needed more supplies.
Yes.
So they break into the supply room.
Uh-huh.
And there's Armisen.
There's Admonson.
Admonson, whatever.
Fred Armisen.
And Fred Armisen and all his boys with a flashlight, like, gotcha, bitch.
Gotcha, bitch. Yeah.
And that's another great moment in episode 8, man. What the fuck?
Let's talk about a moment that I liked. It's funny. We rip into the show.
Well, it's fun to make fun of this show.
It is still enjoyable. I still find myself enjoying the show.
Yeah.
I get mad about it, and the plot is sometimes weak, but I still enjoy it. And I did want to call out. I thought the best scene work, one of the more moving scenes I've seen on this show through nearly 2 seasons, is when Sheriff Billings' wife has found out that he's got some page from a book that shows the outside. Is furious that he hasn't shared this with her. The sight of that, the knowledge of it, far outweighs any danger that it might present. And then when he shows it to her and she has that reaction to seeing what the world actually looked like, and he tells her about the rest of the pages in the book, the children, the animals, the outside, all of that. I thought that was a really nice moment. That one did a really nice job, I thought, of telling you, of showing you what it would be like to not have any of this knowledge, and then to think about that knowledge. And when he kind of starts crying because he doesn't have any further explanation for what happened or what is going on, that really worked. I thought those were 2 nice performances from Billings and his wife.
That's when the show is at its best.
And I thought that was a really nice piece in this episode. And I agree. Yeah, that's the core of the show. Is this search for the truth? This people want this knowledge of what the Earth was like and what happened to it.
Yeah, and it's that idea that like human beings were not meant to live below the ground in these silos. Like this is not healthy. Like this is not natural.
Right. Yep.
So when they're exposed to pictures and videos of what used to be the Earth, it is incredibly powerful to them.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like instinctively, like on an evolutionary level, you desire that.
Yeah.
And to at least understand it. And that pull is so powerful that like that's why people are asking to go outside in season 1, right?
Correct.
It's why season 1 was such a more powerful season of television. Like this season has had very little to do with that.
Yeah.
So when we get these little sprinkles in that moment that you pointed to is a great one. It reminds you what the beating heart of this show, Silo, is. It's just they haven't tapped into it nearly enough this season. And I do feel like what they've built on with all this Mayor Holland and his new shadow and the vault and Solo and the other Silo with his vault, and like it does feel like we're getting more and more in that direction. But like remember in season 1, I can't remember the 2 actors who were only in a few episodes.
Yeah, it's like Rashida Jones and the first sheriff and his wife, right?
Yeah. David
Ojiafor?
Oyulawa.
Oh yeah, yes.
Holston Becker and his wife. They both asked to go outside.
Rashida Jones and David Owelio? Is that it?
Close enough, yeah.
Sorry for botching that name.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Oyelowo. They asked to go out because they've been exposed to information about the outside world or whatever. And that's this overriding theme for the whole season of like, now Juliet's been exposed to information. Now she wants to go out. And like this season has just been very different. Very different. And all the dragging of the feet has made it feel a little bit like it's lost its luster.
Yep.
So I'm hoping that in the final 2 episodes, they at least regain momentum for going into season 3. And as we've discussed on Patreon over the past several weeks, Barrett and I obviously have not read any of these books because we're illiterate. And readers who are also members of the Clam Fam and Mollusk Militia on Patreon have informed us that this is not some show with a Lost-esque ending.
Right.
It is finite and rewarding
and has
satisfying
answers to these questions. Yes.
And that we now know they have capped this thing at 4 seasons, so we have 2 more. And I'm hoping that combination of them having a finite ending and also the books to go off of will put us in more of a natural, like the pacing has been the big problem this season. And especially in Juliet and Solo's silo has been the problem, the pacing. So hopefully they can regain their footing here. And I've had to say this a lot recently with shows we've watched, like with Dune Prophecy. Like, I hope they give us an explosive moment in the final couple hours of this season that makes all this other sort of waiting game and nonsensical time-sucking plot lines feel worthwhile.
Yeah.
And it's very possible. They have enough pins in the board to play with at this point. We just need to see something happen. If I had to take a guess at how this season ends, I still think Juliet is going to get help from these other people in the Solo silo.
Mm-hmm.
The ones she just met that are now holding Solo captive are somehow going to help her. And she's going to get back to her original silo number 18, just before they open the door to go outside. Because that just makes very narrative sense.
So I liked that prediction. Now I'm not sure because there's only 2 episodes left. And they don't seem close enough to the actual rebellion yet, do they?
I don't know, man. You take down a couple of these barricades and it's on.
Yeah. And I guess maybe between most likely discovering that Walker is an informant now, losing the squad that just went up there, maybe they got to kind of play their final hand, right?
Yeah, and if I had to take another stab in the dark, I think the rebel group, the down deeps, will find a way to turn the mids and the up tops
right
onto their team, sort of.
Yeah.
I feel like it's going to end up everybody against Bernard Holland.
Right.
But I don't know.
And again, I like that. That's interesting. Bernard is trying to save the silo, right? All these people are going to die if they do this.
Yeah.
So that's a cool wrinkle. David Oyelowo is correct.
Oyelowo.
A couple other things that I wanted to mention about this episode specifically. We finally get the Leonardo DiCaprio pointing at the TV meme when Logan Kyle goes and he types in his computer that does anything now to find Salvador Quinn descendants. You just type that in, boom, all of them right there.
Yeah.
No issues.
Yeah.
Goes down there.
No confusion at all.
And guess what the descendants of Salvador Quinn are doing? Guess what their job is in the silo? They're making wool.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
The name of book number 1.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so that was interesting.
I like that. Was a good scene when he goes and meets the wool people.
Yeah, the wool people.
And that guy follows him out. And he's like, "Look, we make wool because we want everyone to forget about Salvador Quinn. He's a stain on this family. We make the wool to serve the silo." And you're like, "What the fuck?"
And the wool is what they use to clean to clean. The wool is the clean.
Yeah, but they need that much wool? How often were cleanings taking place? We've only seen 3. What the fuck? How long does it take to make a cloth?
Ross, don't forget about the blankets that they're also making.
Oh, for the up tops,
For the up tops mostly.
Only the rich get blankets.
Only the rich get blankets in Silo. Yeah, so we had that going, and the other thing that we've heard from our patrons and from our listeners is that people keep telling us that, hey, book number 2 is different.
Things are different.
It's different. So I think you and I have prognosticated that book number 2 is going to be able to kind of be folded into the telling of book number 3.
Right.
Book 2 is called Shift. Could that be the shift into the silo? I don't know. All I'm saying is I think that Yeah, I'm expecting a little bit of momentum headed towards the end of this season, and then I think that that seasons 3 and 4 are going to kind of simultaneously. I think they're going to push books 2 and 3 together.
Book 1 is called Wool.
It's called Wool. Yes.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Okay, that's got the mind.
Now you're thinking. Now the gears are turning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wild. Okay.
Just to finish off the Logan Kyle thing, we talked about. So
I like his character, by the way.
I love his character. One of the better ones for sure.
Positive swing there in this season.
He, he's got the whole silo at his disposal now. He's got computers that do anything. He's got his AI iPad that finds any book, any code,
the anything and everything computer. Yeah.
But now he's in Judge Meadows' former apartment, digging through the books. He gets the book. He finds the Salvador Quinn's Pact. Nothing's working. The pages aren't lining up. The code is not cracking. And then finally, he finds something on the page. It's like little underlined letters. I don't know. It happened too quickly for me to wrap my head around what happened. But he does crack a bit of a code, only to get the message, if you've come this far, you know the game is rigged.
And his cracking of the code is him going, again, flipping through pages, looking at stuff. They don't really show you a good enough angle so you can fully read what he's got going on. And he just goes, it's numeric.
Well, that happened like last episode. Right?
But the little ways they reveal that he has taken the next step in breaking the code were all sort of bullshit.
Yes.
We were like, wait, what did he? What was it that gave him the numeric idea?
It doesn't matter.
Could you go back to? Then they're like, shut the fuck up, eat your fucking stew. Yeah, it feels disrespectful a little bit. I'm like, you guys couldn't come up with a cool reason that he fucking came up with numeric, and then show it unfold. Like, what was the one in this episode? He literally is just
he's paging. He's got the thing.
He
now
needs a book because he knows it's every 7 words
or something. Like page 77, every 7 letters or words or whatever. But it's not working.
But then he just pulls out one book and he's like, "Oh shit!" Yeah, he has like some revelation.
Something. Yes.
A light bulb goes off, and then he starts immediately. He's like, this, but he doesn't verbally explain it to the audience.
Right.
So I'm just going, "Oh look, honey, he got it."
Yeah,
he did it.
But then I almost threw the remote control off the TV when the cracked code was, if you've come this far, the game is
the game is rigged. And that's it? That's the Salvador Quinn message? Why in the name of God would
better fucking not be.
He takes so much care to bury that juicy message this took him 5 episodes to solve this code. He's using the everything and anything computer and learning like Neo in the Matrix, like just teach me kung fu, except teach me code breaking.
Right.
Now teach me numeric code breaking.
Yeah.
Just to get to that.
Yeah, that was frustrating. I would have rathered it be some other, like, I would rather be just continue me on the wild goose chase.
Yeah.
Before giving me, if you've come this far, you know the game is rigged.
It can't be the end of the code thing.
It cannot be. It cannot be.
Yeah, man, that was a tough cookie to swallow. So he goes and tells Salvador Quinn's family, hey, your uncle or whatever, he was actually a hero.
Right.
He kept us all alive.
Yeah.
And he's just, that's fine. You can disseminate this information now. We've kept this fucking secret for decades and decades, but now because you feel bad.
Well, they already knew because Judge Meadows said the same thing.
He goes back in and he's like, I'm sorry about being a dick earlier. I'm not an asshole. I was having to stretch to come off as a hard ass. Mm-hmm. I'm a good dude. So I'm going to tell you your relative wasn't actually dog shit. You shouldn't feel shame. You guys, you've been making wool year after year after year after year with all this shame.
Trying to cleanse your conscience.
When in reality, this man was a hero. Yeah. He's the reason we're all still here.
Yeah.
So now there's not going to be any more wool because they've lost all their motivation to make it. So how will anybody clean?
Well, as we've already discussed, they probably got such a huge backlog of wool for cleaning. I think the biggest issue is that there might be a blanket shortage in the ups.
Yeah, look, this has not been a good season of TV, but I somehow love it. Like, I don't know how to explain. If most things were this lacking in like wit and clever storytelling, I would be out.
Yeah.
But there's something about Silo where I'm just like, it's Silo. This is what they do. They're just fucking.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I don't know what it is either. I noticed on the when I was scrolling around like the little Apple TV interface, you can drop down and like see the actors and click on them and it gives a little bio, shows what else they're in, that type of stuff. it described this show in it's got like this like, description. And I think it calls it, among other things, it's like sci-fi puzzle box. So I mean, right out there, it's not trying to be anything different than this puzzle box. And so I think that's always, as long as there are a few things to grab onto, like puzzle box shows are by and large pretty fun to watch, The fact that I can still sort of latch on to like what is happening, even if it's all through MacGuffins and like very convenient circumstance, it's still different than the best comparison that I have to this show is Westworld at this point.
Yeah, probably.
Which just like fully lost its plot.
Oh, completely derailed in season 2 and never recovered.
And never really recovered. Like, so that's the biggest difference for me is that even though I have a lot of gripes with this, it still feels like it's on the tracks to a degree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just like ran out of coal and the train is barely moving. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's, and
Yeah.
I don't know strategically what went wrong there in the writer's room, or if they were just like, look, we got to stretch this first book over 2 seasons and then we can get into the heavy stuff in season 3 or what. But look, the number one problem is that they desperately need Rebecca Ferguson to go back to being the main character of this show.
Right.
She has been awesome.
That's a good point. Yeah.
And her story this season has been dog shit.
Yeah.
And that will put us back in a much better place mentally.
That's a good point.
And I believe that will happen before the end of the season.
Okay.
Like that should be the big turn in episode 10.
Mm-hmm.
Like and now we're back to being able to follow her doing actually meaningful stuff, not just crazy.
Yeah.
What the shit she's had to do in that silo feels like missions you do in a cumbersome video
game, yeah.
Where you're just like, I gotta fucking dive.
Totally. Side quest. It's all side quests.
Yeah, like, God damn it. Can I get back to the main story? This one sucks. This mission sucks. That's what she's had going on over and over and over this season. And yeah, hopefully we get answers on Solo. It sounds like this next episode will probably give us that. And then we'll see if they can sort of regain momentum. Because, like, look, when you look at it on paper and you look at all the characters, I'm like, they got Ian Glenn. Dr. Pete Nichols is still out there fucking doing stuff. He's a great character. I totally forgot Will Patton was even in this show. Remember Deputy Marnes? Remember him?
Oh, yeah.
He was like in love with Mayor Ruth Johns.
That's right. Before the shit hit the fan,
And
man.
they're both gone.
Back in
dead.
the good old days, the silo.
Bro, a lot of people have died. Like a lot. Like kind of a shitload of people have died.
Yeah.
How much time is supposed to have passed between where we're at and like when this fucking show started? Like 3 months?
That's a good question.
Who knows?
I
Can't
have
even
no
tell.
idea.
Oh, last question. Patrick Kennedy's character.
Yeah.
What's his deal now?
I don't know.
He's hurt. He's recovering.
Yeah.
And
He was going to tell Sheriff Billings something.
he tells him
And then
like,
he tells him, and he's like, bet you wish I'd never told you
that was
that.
the best. That was the best scene. He's like, tell me everything you know. He's like, you don't even want me to tell you everything I know, because
Yeah.
if I told you everything I know, it would ruin you.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, shut up and just tell me. He's like, I'll tell you. Oh, I'll tell you. He tells him like, the world used to be different out there. I bet you wish I didn't tell you that. And he's like, my God, everything's been thrown into a totally different perspective for me. I gotta hide this paper from my wife. Yeah, that was a fucking mess.
There was
bro.
zero payoff to him dropping knowledge on the sheriff. So much so that we can't even remember what he told him.
It doesn't matter because it just didn't matter at all.
Now he's just down there stirring the pot. He's the one that mentions the piece of the book page to Billings' wife.
Right. Why'd he do that? That was what I wanted to know.
He's a pot stirrer, man.
That's just what he does.
You can't trust that guy.
He's raking the muck.
Yeah, he's muck raking. Yeah.
He's even though he's like a good guy now.
Right.
He's like part of the rebellion, and he's got the knowledge of the tree of life. He can't help himself.
No,
he's still got to fuck shit up.
He's a mischief maker.
Okay.
You know,
fair enough.
Yeah.
Fucking Patrick Kennedy, still alive, still down there. Whew. I mean, just talking about it, I can't wait to watch episode 9. I can't fucking wait. I hate it, but I can't wait. It's great, but it's terrible. That's where we're at with this fucking thing. So that was it. That's Silo episode 8. Barrett, any last comments or wishes?
Hey man, 2 more episodes to go. Let's see what you got, Silo.
Hey, maybe we'll find out who built the silo. But probably not. I'm guessing that's a season 4 answer. You know?
Yeah.
20 more episodes, and we'll get there.
Okay.
All right, remember, in addition to this episode, our public ad-based episode, Barrett and I will be releasing an ad-free exclusive episode later this week, likely on Thursday, on patreon.com/oysters, clams, cockles, where we take hotline calls from our listeners, members of the Clam Fam, Mollusk Militia specifically, and we dive deeper into everything we have seen on Silo Season 2 so far, which I'm very much looking forward to. Mollusk Militia, get your hotline calls in about everything Silo Season 2 through Episode 8. Obviously, spoiler-free if you're a book reader. We don't delve into spoiler territory. Should be an exciting episode on Patreon this week. I might have a little bit more to talk about Golden Globes-wise, maybe some Landman updates, if we so see fit. I didn't notice any Landman folks at the Golden Globes.
Yeah, might not be. They might be next year.
I know, but you feel like they get them in there on screen to promote the show or whatever, you know. But I guess I you know what? Didn't Yellowstone just wrap with the finale? I'm pretty sure it did.
Series finale.
So maybe they're still focused on pumping that thing. Who knows?
Perhaps.
But yeah, we usually talk about some other things on Patreon as well. Random things we've watched.
You can call in about Nosferatu if you got.
If you got some Nosferatu
big
takes.
Nos takes.
Barrett and I sort of reviewed that one last week as well. We saw it on New Year's Eve. My wife is still angry at me as a result, but it's okay. I'll recover eventually. Please support our sponsors. Today we had rocketmoney.com/dragon. Hit the link in the description of this episode. Go get yourself a Rocket Money account, cancel your unwanted subscriptions, and reach your financial goals faster in 2025. Check out Bolin Media's other programming, including the Ross Bolin podcast, Banging the Can if you are a Houston sports fan. We're getting into NFL playoff season. And F1 fans, if you're looking for content this offseason, Formula Bone is for you. Follow Mr. Dudley on Instagram and Twitter at Barrett Dudley. Go throw him a like on his latest IG post. We'll just run those numbers up, Barrett. Fucking run them up. Leave a comment about my height if you would. That helps my ego. And then I'm at WR Bolin on Twitter and Instagram as well. And I'm on, what am I boss rolling on Letterboxd? Been getting a lot of Letterboxd followers.
Sick.
Yeah. Like I'm at like 32.
Yeah.
People are loving it. They're loving it. Thanks for being here today.
Have you reviewed more than one movie yet?
Like 6 or 7,
Okay.
but I've plugged in like hundreds.
Right. Okay. That you've seen.
I just haven't gone and written reviews for all of them.
Got it.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We look forward to hearing everyone's reactions to Silo Season 2 on Patreon later this week and reading them on social media as well. Until next time, who built the silo?